I'd like to get started. You refused to compromise, and so...
I think I should have left.
Very good. It's possible. Now...
The film opens with a high-speed chase between two cars. One driver is desperately trying to stop the woman in the other vehicle. She finally pulls over. Masked gunmen rush in, smashing the windows and attempting to drag her out. Suddenly, a sharply dressed man appears.
Wait a minute.
The attackers freeze when they recognize him and speak his name, Randall Thompson. Although Randall had never met them, the group behaved as if they knew him. As he struggled to remain calm, the woman suddenly bolted from the car but was shot in the leg. Randall ran to help her but was also shot. Panic erupted as the group was stunned by how fast everything had unraveled. One of them panicked, but the gunman fired again, killing Randall. They searched his pockets, discovered a police badge, and took it before fleeing the scene. A shop owner across the street witnessed everything and quickly called the police. Not long after, Randall's funeral was held, honoring his military background and service as a mercenary. Randall's daughter, Anna, attended the funeral with her teacher, Kara. Both were heartbroken. Later, Randall's brother, Carl, showed up. Anna was surprised but felt comforted, having no other family. She introduced him to Kara, who greeted him warmly. Carl seemed ready to stay. On the way home, he asked Anna questions to learn about the area. Anna said the area was dangerous and that her father always stood up to gangs. He was killed after confronting some criminals while shopping. Angry, Anna blamed Carl for never visiting, even though Randall had hoped he would. She asked if he was leaving again, but Carl promised to stay. Near the school, Carl saw some teens harassing a woman. When he stepped in, she quickly walked away. The group then turned on Carl, taunting him and claiming they ran the area. Carl stayed calm and asked if they were seriously trying to threaten him. A police car showed up, and the teens ran off. But once the officers left, they returned and shot at Carl. He dodged the bullets, and they ran again. Later, Carl met his old friend Joey in a quiet spot. Joey had worked with Shale, their former teacher now in New York. Carl asked Joey to help find his brother's killer and check if a gang was behind it. The attackers wore hoodies backward with eye holes, and the shop owner confirmed they were high schoolers. Joey said they had to act fast. The next day, Carl brought drinks to visit Kara, who was happy to see him. He asked about Randall's replacement, and she said the school was still looking for a sub for the most violent class. Carl said he used to teach self-defense and offered to take Randall's place. Kara was unsure, but agreed to help if he got certified. The next day, Anna went back to school for the first time since her dad died and reunited with her best friend, Danny. Carl arrived at the school and was greeted by shop teacher Warren Drummond. On the way, Warren asked if he was the new sub for the troubled class. Danny walked by, thanked Warren, but looked uneasy. In class, Carl noticed many students looked more like gang members than regular teens. After getting his hall pass, Carl got lost until a security guard helped him. When he entered the classroom, it was total chaos. Students were partying, drinking soda, dancing, and flirting. He tried to introduce himself, but they ignored him. A student named Dante asked to lower the music, but others protested. Carl joked with a student holding a soda, asking if he brought enough for everyone, which made the class laugh. Then he introduced himself as the new substitute teacher. Carl noticed a student with a broken arm and learned it happened during basketball. When Dante joked that teaching was just as risky, Carl pulled out a yo-yo and asked if anyone recognized it. He explained it was once a weapon in the Philippines 400 years ago. Carl threw the yo-yo and shattered a soda bottle to show it could be a weapon. He told the class not to judge by looks and to share their soda. The room went quiet, and some students began paying attention, planning to test him later. At lunch, a few students mocked Carl, unaware Joey was secretly filming nearby. In the teacher's lounge, Carl met his tired, discouraged coworkers. One joked about him surviving his first class. Carl said the kids acted tough, but he wasn't sure they were. Another teacher reminded him Randall once thought the same. A teacher sarcastically mentioned Randall's death, but Warren cut in, hinting the students wouldn't change. Despite his smug tone, he invited Carl for a walk and asked why he chose that class, subtly warning he should have picked an easier one. Kara teased Warren by pretending not to know Carl and asked him to introduce them. Elsewhere, Anna saw Dennis in a Mustang, complimented it, and asked how he paid for it. He avoided the question and invited her for a ride. She agreed. Meanwhile, Carl and Joey secretly followed students tied to the Brotherhood and possibly Randall's death. They followed the group to an abandoned factory, where the gang was torturing the shop owner who saw Randall's murder. Carl and Joey snuck in and saw the man hanging by his arms, badly beaten. Joey asked if they should help, and Carl nodded. The gang leader was accusing the man of spreading rumors they killed the teacher, insisting they were just students. The man begged for his life and admitted he had called the police, which made the gang beat him even harder. Meanwhile, Carl set up his gear. Joey, unarmed, stepped out and told the gang to let the man go. To back him up, Carl shot a few gang members in the leg. Joey aimed his gun at the gang leader and warned he'd shoot if the man wasn't freed. The leader gave in and untied him. Joey told the gang not to move until the laser dots disappeared, or they'd be shot. The gang froze as Joey led the man out. At home, Anna and Dennis got close, but she pulled away when things went too far. Dennis asked why, and she dodged the question with a joke. Suddenly, Carl arrived, surprising Anna. She told Dennis to sneak out, then greeted Carl, who joked about teaching you history. Anna laughed, and before leaving, Carl said he understood what teens went through. That night, students from the special class planned to steal a car. Mace used a radio, got out, and broke into a vehicle. The alarm went off, but his friend shut it down quickly and they drove away. Joey watched from the shadows. Meanwhile, Carl spent the evening drinking and talking with Kara. When she asked about his past, he said Randall was his brother and partner. They were both mercenaries. Randall had inspired him to teach and make a difference. Carl got a call from Joey, who said he set a trap using a bait car that Dante and Mace had stolen. Joey asked Carl to guess where it was headed, and they made plans to meet. Carl thanked Kara before leaving, though she wished he stayed longer. When they met, Joey showed Carl where the stolen car was taken. Carl wanted to act right away, but Joey told him to wait. Tomorrow was important. He gave Carl a recording of the gang planning an attack. The next day, Carl arrived at school. Dante greeted him with a sarcastic "the man with the lesson plan." Carl smiled and began teaching. One student faked being sick to open the back door for gang members. In class, Mace blasted music and ignored Carl. After a warning, Carl decided it was time to teach them all a lesson. Carl said letting Mace play music would lead to a deadlock with no solution. He threw the radio out the window, and the class went silent. Angry, Mace pulled a knife and showed off, but Carl quickly disarmed him and kept the blade. Carl told the class he wasn't there to embarrass anyone, just to take control and help them. Noticing Keshin hadn't returned from the bathroom, Carl went to look for him near the boys' area. Gang members showed up behind Carl, but thanks to Joey's warning, he stopped them fast. In class, Keshin heard the noise and rushed in, saying Carl might be in danger, but Mace stayed back. Mace kept thinking about Carl's words. Meanwhile, Carl used his training to defeat an attacker in the bathroom and got info about Randall Thompson's death. After the fight, Carl calmly adjusted his tie and watch. The security guard from earlier walked in and praised his skills. The security guard, Jonathan Barty, introduced himself and said Carl's fighting reminded him of the Green Berets. He had served in the 1st Battalion in 1971-1972 and believed the attackers weren't real students but had inside help. Jonathan guessed Carl was undercover and offered to handle things. He told Carl to return to class and meet him later in the basement. Carl calmly went back and saw Keshawn was now the center of attention. Carl checked on Keshawn, but other students were suspicious since he had lied. After class, Carl asked Mace to stay and asked about the radio. Mace said it was expensive. Carl said he believed Mace could change, but Mace got angry, feeling Carl didn't understand his life. Mace said his dad was in prison, his brother was dead, and he didn't know where his mom was. The gang was all he had. Carl listened and said he could still choose a better path. Saddened, Mace returned the yo-yo and walked off. Later, Keshawn and his friends checked the bathroom, but found it cleaned up. Keshawn said Carl fought the gang, but his friends didn't believe him. Later, Carl met Jonathan in the basement and saw his living space and military gear. Impressed by his dedication, Carl told Jonathan he was hunting his brother Randall's killer. Jonathan and Carl shared a soda as Jonathan talked about strange noises and people entering the building at night, though he never caught anyone. Carl suggested they team up and bring in another ally. That same day, Brotherhood gang members stopped Anna on her way home. The gang threatened Anna, warning her to stop Carl and forget what happened. Frightened, she told Carl, who advised her to stay home for a few days. Though unsure, she agreed. That night, Carl, Joey, and Jonathan met at the school to investigate the noises. They quietly searched the garage, with Jonathan leading through a hidden passage. Carl found Warren and some students working on cars, clearly doing illegal work. He reported Warren was running a chop shop, stripping 3 to 4 cars a week and selling the parts cheaply. They estimated Warren made over $100,000 a month. Meanwhile, Warren learned from Dante that police had chased a stolen car and Mace was dead. Warren showed no emotion. The next morning, Carl met with the grieving students. Only Dante seemed unfazed, saying Mace took risks and paid the price. Carl disagreed, saying school isn't a battlefield and no one should die there. Dante replied that, for people like him, the real world is a battlefield. Dante said they had to fight for everything, unlike Carl. He blamed Mace's death on the police, not himself. Carl suspected Dante might be tied to Randall's death, even if he didn't know it. After class, Carl asked Kara about Warren. She said Warren was popular at school, but cold and controlling. They had dated, but she ended it because he was too possessive. The next day, Carl quietly asked her to check Warren's background and past jobs. While Carl and Kara talked, Warren watched them suspiciously. Later, Kara called Carl and Joey, saying she found something important and asked them to come over. They told Anna not to open the door. Soon after, someone knocked. Warren appeared with food, claiming he was just passing by. Feeling unsafe, Kara hid the folder meant for Carl. Warren acted friendly but subtly asked about him. Meanwhile, Anna quietly left to meet Danny. Danny welcomed Anna but moved too fast, making her uncomfortable. While he was in the bathroom, she saw a condom on the table and felt uneasy. Then she found her father's police badge in his drawer and a Brotherhood gang outfit in his closet. Terrified, she started to leave, but Danny returned. Anna asked if he killed her father. Danny said her father had messed up the Brotherhood's money. As tension rose, Danny grabbed a knife, but Anna, trained in karate, kicked him and smashed glass on his head. He tried to grab her again, but she escaped. At Kara's house, Warren attacked her, threw her across the room, and accused her of betrayal. He hit her repeatedly. Warren demanded to know who Carl was. Kara said he was Randall Thompson's brother. She tried to run, but Warren caught, beat, and shot her. He then told his men to kill Carl and follow only him. As Warren left, he saw Carl and Joey arriving and hid. They didn't notice him. Inside, Carl found Kara dead and the folder she'd meant to give him. The paper showed Warren was a former U.S. Marine, honorably discharged, but once suspected of illegal actions in Honduras in 1986. He denied it and was honored in 1987. At home, Anna told Carl that Danny had set her up and was the killer. Danny admitted he killed to prove himself to Warren. That night, Carl armed himself, ready to finish it. Joey picked him up, and they headed to the school. He warned that 2 cars of gang members were nearby and they soon arrived. The gang stormed the school with guns to kill Carl. Carl, Joey, and Jonathan retreated inside, leading to a shootout. Several gang members were badly injured, but Carl, Joey, and Jonathan were unharmed. They hid in a room and locked the door. Joey was shot and felt trapped. Carl spotted a gas can and came up with a quick plan. He placed it by the door, and when the gang fired, it exploded, giving them a chance to escape. Jonathan led them through a tunnel to a hidden room filled with old weapons. They armed themselves and got ready to fight as the gang kept attacking and losing more men. After the shootout, Jonathan threw a smoke grenade. Carl caught the gang leader while Joey and Jonathan fought the rest. In the chaos, the gang accidentally killed their own leader. Before dying, he revealed Warren Drummond was behind everything. Carl later confronted Warren in class about Kara's murder and her notes. Warren panicked, denied it, and exposed Carl's mercenary past to the students. He tried to grab a gun, but Carl stopped him. They fought fiercely. Warren used a flamethrower, but Carl turned it against him and stabbed him in the eye with a light bulb, badly injuring him. The students watched, unsure who to support. Even after Carl knocked him down, Warren kept fighting. Anna rushed down to help. The fight grew more intense, and Warren stabbed Carl's hand with a screwdriver. Despite the pain, Carl kept fighting. The students feared he might die, but he got up and stabbed Warren, ending the fight. The class stayed silent, showing no sympathy. Later, Anna and Joey thanked Carl for everything. Jonathan told the students to go back to class. It was over. As they left, Dante told Carl to see a doctor and rest. Carl thanked Joey for his help. Later, Carl and Anna visited Randall's grave, leaving flowers and his badge. Anna invited Carl to stay, but he said no, telling her he was proud. They hugged, and the film ended.